Hi, this is Kim from Emerging Creatively Tutorials, and this is ECT TV episode 19. Hello, here we are at episode 19 already, and I can't believe we're already at episode 19. Today I'm going to be showing you some ideas for unconventional charms, and I'm going to show you specifically how to make one in particular, but I just wanted to sort of give you some ideas. I love using old things to make funky new jewelry, and some of this isn't even really that funky, but I will show you some ideas here. So the first idea I have is sort of buttons, and then this isn't really that unconventional. It's a little feather charm at the end. It's 2 buttons stacked, and then I've wire wrapped either side and then attached a charm to the end, and then I think that makes a really cool looking charm. And this is kind of the basis of what I will be showing you today, except we'll have a little key on the end instead. Here are a couple ideas with buttons. These are some of my favorite buttons, especially a couple of these I've been kind of saving in my box of buttons for a while, wondering what to do with them because they're so beautiful. But I've decided to make these charms with them, and I'll put them on my charm bracelet. And I just simply added them with some jump rings. This is a piece of ruler that has been cut, and then it has 2 holes drilled in it. So I added this little kind of crystal bead to one end, a jump ring to the other end, so I can add it to my charm bracelet. Alright, I got these cool little metal numbers along the way, and I kind of wrap the top, so because it's a 5 and it doesn't have, like, some of the numbers are like 8 or 9. You could just add a jump ring and it would stay connected. This 5, I wire wrapped it really well, made sure it was secure, and then this is an upcycled crystal from a chandelier that is also wire wrapped, and so I attached them. So here are a couple examples with keys. These are little tiny cabinet keys. This one has a pretty button, and I added a little dangly button here too. And this one is another upcycled chandelier crystal, and then I added the key to the end. So this is one of the funkier charms I made. It's made with some supplies I have that were sewing supplies. I got like this big bag of just random sewing type supplies at a yard sale or flea market or something at a cheap price. So I've just sort of attached little different pieces together with jump rings. So here are the tools and materials you'll need to make your charm. So you'll need at least 1 button, and I'm actually going to use 2 buttons, and I'm going to layer them like that. You'll need something to dangle off the bottom. I'm going to use this itty bitty key. You might want to just find a charm. Like in this example, I used a feather charm that dangles down, which looks pretty cool too. You will need wire. I'm using 20 gauge, half hard, round wire. And you're going to need wire cutters, chain nose pliers, round nose pliers, and then a second pair of pliers such as bent nose pliers, something like that. So the first step is to cut off a piece of wire. I am cutting about 5 inches, and then I'm going to make sure I have a flush cut on each side, which means I'm just using the back of my wire cutters toward the work. Alright, move these little pieces out of the way. And you'll actually need 2 pieces of wire, so you can go ahead and cut 2 that are the same. And flush cuts on all sides. Alright, so now if you're using 2 buttons, you want to stack them so that the holes are lined up too. If you're using buttons that have, you know, maybe 4 holes, just make sure 2 of the holes are lined up because we're going to be putting the wire through and making a loop. So that's what we're going to do. So put the wire through and both buttons, and then we're just going to position the buttons in the middle. And so I start out by kind of just making a loose bend and making sure they're kind of in the middle. It doesn't necessarily have to be perfect. And now I'm just going to go ahead and cross over my wires. And make sure they cross kind of like right in the middle of the buttons on the top here. And then we're going to do a twist. And you can use your chain nose pliers to do that twist if you want. And just kind of make sure it's tight. And now grab your round nose pliers. And I've mentioned this before if you've watched episodes of ECT TV before. But your pliers, when you're making loops, it's good to take a Sharpie and mark a spot on your round nose pliers where you want to make all your loops. I have a mark that's kind of faint, but I can still see it. I don't think you can in the camera. It's about halfway. And I use that for making my larger loops like these. And it doesn't really matter where you put the mark, as long as you just use it throughout a whole project, so all your loops are the same throughout an entire project. So take your round nose pliers and pick a wire, you know, position it so the one you're picking is the one that's kind of away from you, and then you'll have one kind of going this way. And take a hold of it so it's lined up with that mark on your round nose pliers, and then it's just slightly above the buttons where you just made that twist. There's enough. Make sure there's enough room for a wire to go in between there. And now you're just going to wrap this wire around your pliers, and then just bring it down here in between where you made that twist and the pliers. So you're making a loop, like so. And now you're going to grab your chain nose pliers and then hold that loop you just made in between, you know, right in between the barrels here of the pliers. And then you can use your bent nose pliers. I'm just using my finger. And what I'm actually doing is going around one time, and as I do that, I'm just kind of making sure this loop is straight above the buttons. Because it oftentimes, when you make a loop with your round nose pliers, the loop will be off to a side or not be quite straight. So I did that. Now I'm switching hands because I'm right-handed, and I'm going to grab my bent nose pliers, and then I'm going to finish wrapping this side that I started, and just can move this other wire out of the way if it gets in your way. Most of the time it doesn't, but for some reason I have it in a weird spot. Alright, and then you just wrap the other side around too. And if it's long like this, you don't even need to use pliers. You can just wrap, or if you feel more comfortable holding it in pliers and using another pair of pliers like bent nose pliers, then do that. Alright. So now we have, and you just want to go around a couple of times, really until you feel comfortable and you like how it looks and that sort of thing. And then you just trim off the excess wire you may have. With your wire cutters. And then you want to grab your chain nose pliers again and just make sure these ends are not poking out. So you can just hold the wire in between your chain nose pliers and then just go around like this on both ends. Make sure they're in. Okay. So that is how you wire wrap one side, and now you're just going to do exactly the same thing on the bottom. So now I have you know, a wrapped loop on either side here, my button, and now I just want to add my little key or whatever charm you might want to add to the end. So, but before I do that, I just wanted to tell you something. When you're making these loops, and actually you can fix it after, which I'm just going to show you, what you want to think about is how you'll be attaching everything together. So on the top, I'm going to put this on a charm bracelet, and so I'll have a jump ring to put it on, and then the bracelet. So actually the top needs to be going not this way, but that way, so it's even, and then the jump ring will attach it to the bracelet. And so the bottom here, I am going to take a jump ring and attach it to this loop down here. So when I have the jump ring will go this way. So I need to also twist this one. And like I just showed you, you can do it after the fact. You just take your chain nose pliers and bend. Alright, so now I'm opening up a jump ring to attach this key to the end of my charm. And the only thing you really need to think about is how big your jump ring needs to be in order to fit whatever you're adding, whatever charm or little key or whatever it is. So it will go around, you know, fit through the hole and attach to the loop at the end. You could also, instead of twisting it so it goes that way, like I showed you, you could actually just add 2 jump rings if that works better. So that is how you make this cool button dingly charm. And I hope I've inspired you with some other ideas, and you can go make a funky, unconventional charm bracelet. You'll find even more about this tutorial over at my blog at KimberlyKoehler.com. While you're there, sign up for my email newsletter and you'll get all future ECT TV episodes emailed to you in PDF form so you can save or print each tutorial and take it to your work table. If you like this video, I'd love if you'd give me a thumbs up. You can also find me on my social media sites, on Facebook at facebook.com/emergingcreativelytutorials, on Twitter at Kimberly Koehler, and you can find me on Instagram now at Kimberly Koehler, and of course Pinterest. Have a great week.